We'll just hop right on into it. Zero Skill Just Luck joins us and says, "Sup, guys." Interesting timing for that. That's how I play.
Yeah.
Hide in the corner, get lucky, nobody found you.
That's it. In the corner. For the win.
Exactly. I guess we do have Hydroponos here, so we're going to be sitting on waiting for other players for a while.
Yeah, potato laptop.
Yeah.
Did you know scientific HQs are vulnerable to pirates? If they ship food, steel and glass, etc.
I did know that. But I'm actually glad those tips are in the game.
They need to add a reveal map tip, don't they?
Maybe, but that's for multiplayer stuff specifically. Hey, we made it on into the game. Hello, everyone, and welcome to game number 1 in our second round FFA tournament featuring Hydroponos, Cubit32, Soren Johnson, and PBhead filling in for Mantis Style, who was unfortunately a no-show. So this map, we got a lot of carbon on this map. I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, we've also got nukes.
Yeah, so that's dangerous, but it's there.
And water's not it's good, but it's not fantastic.
Another thing to look at is power and chems are starting a bit high. Not a whole lot of price changes this time, actually.
No, it's quite a decent board.
Yeah, quite a standard game in terms of the prices. All right, lots of founds going on all at once. Looks like Cubit was the first one to drop with his expansive, followed up by Hydroponos.
And then I think it was PB, yeah.
Mm-hmm. PB, the bold one, going to take Scavenger this time. He does have a high tile, which is slightly resistant to nuking, but he is almost certainly going to want to get a Goon Squad on that, or his medium.
Definitely get Goon Squad on, yeah. Cubit will definitely be throwing a nuke or two around, I'm sure.
Yeah, one thing I do want to point out with that is, of course, that PBhead, he, I think, made the correct decision of founding directly next to the carbon, given this nuke situation, so that if he were to get nuked out, worst case scenario is he swaps into some other type of production, takes some of the low tiles around him. I think if you're gonna go Scavenger on a map with nukes, this is the best case scenario for doing it.
Definitely. And then PB's had those two medium waters right next to the one Cubit claimed, the high water. So I can't think that Cubit's going to be too happy about that.
No. And once again, mediums, I always hate mediums on a map with nukes. It's just...
Yeah.
I do not like relying on it.
It'd have been far better for him to go north. There's a nice high and medium water up there.
That's what I was thinking, is that high and medium. Like, this is definitely distinctly an aggressive move, blocking off adjacency, but I don't know if it was actually valuable enough to do it, given the extra vulnerability it adds.
I'd have much preferred to take the high, stick a Goon Squad on it. Soren's decided he's having it, though.
Yeah, that'll work out just fine for him. I'm sure Soren was glad to see that. It just kind of left that patch of water available for him. With Pirates this game, Scientific is a little bit vulnerable here if he relies too much on that patch, shipping things like food, things like reactor resources. But I imagine long-term he's probably going to be okay.
All right. PB says that his keyboard isn't working.
Well, that's unfortunate.
I guess it works enough to type a message out, but maybe not working in game.
Well, it's not working in game, yeah. Well, I mean, he is first to HQ level 3. Hopefully he'll pull it off, but that is unfortunate. I don't know.
Oh, maybe he had his hotkeys reset or something, it says.
Yeah.
Oh, well, he's not calling it, so carry on. He's in a good position,
and
though,
on some degree, he is in a good position. I find it interesting that he's separated his reactor from his base.
I was just looking at that. Why would he do that?
I don't know if there is. Now it is. That was weird. Okay, he's doing just fine then. We're not going to worry about it. But yeah, I don't think there is actually a reason to do this anymore. Now that auto cell exists. Because the primary reason you would do this before, obviously, is in order to separate the resources out from your base so you weren't consuming them, and instead you were taking on as much debt as humanly possible. in order to get as much cash as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to do that anymore with auto sell in the game. Auto sell will sell down before paying your debt if you have that option selected.
I
So
never thought about that before.
something to consider. Oh, Cubit's not going to be happy about PBhead taking that geotherm, though. There's one thing I wanted to note about Cubit's found location, actually, was that he potentially had 2 power sources, 2 geotherms, right next to his base that could get that superconductor bonus going.
Yeah, it's good to take one off him, without a doubt. PBhead paying 24,000 for that claim auction. That's quite a lot.
That was quite expensive, but I think as a scavenger, he can probably get away with it. He's not going to have too much power consumption, and he also has gone for the double geo.
But he does have 90k's worth of debt.
He does have 90k worth of debt, and I think he's going to have to focus basically the rest of today on making sure that he is not in that sea level of debt when the interest tick happens in 6 game hours.
It's not the place to be.
No, it's not. He has managed to rack up that debt so fast. That's very impressive in its own way.
It is.
Not the kind of thing you want to do.
It's risky, really risky.
Yeah, very risky. He could be trying to push for this upgrade in the hopes that upgrading would give him the bond rating to not get this interest tick, but I don't know if he's going to get there in time.
Even so, it's bold move.
He's got the upgrade. It wasn't enough, though. He's still in C. Needs to pay down 1,000 in order... Nope. Ouch. Needed to pay 1,000 debt. I think it was well worth it there, but that's all right.
Ooh, that's... the power surplus is the last thing that he wanted to see.
Yeah, that's going to hurt PB. He is going to be in some serious trouble, I think, for the rest of this game, especially if we look. He's never bothered to actually Goon Squad anything except one of his water tiles. And he's got a nice little Goon Squad set up there, and that's fine. But it's not
great.
It might not be enough to just defend himself long term. All right, number 2 Goon Squad is up on the optimization center. So he is a little bit protected, but I'm still very concerned about him dipping down into D levels as of tomorrow.
Yeah, he's going to have to work hard to keep out of it. Soren then's gone across the map, taking 2 small silicons for, I've got to assume it's glass. And Hydroponos has got his nice little high glass there and a low one next to it. I think with the price of glass and colonies using a lot of glass as well, it's a good market to get into.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a warehouse colony.
He's going to make some money on that, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And I like that he did identify, man, teleportation is super important for me this game, and he's gone for it. I also want to point out very quickly that the way he defended himself against pirates was well done. A lot of people don't do this, but the idea that he kept one water pump up so that he could put his hydrolysis reactors down on the water is very, very important, because it makes people not want to pirate. First of all, they don't really want to pirate reactors instead of farms anyway, right?
Right.
Because reactors just don't launch all that much. Those was a very poor decision on those pirates, whoever dropped them. Qubit did. Not reading the game state at all there, dropping those pirates, I think. Anyway, but then you have the water pump down, and the water is just getting even more in the way, getting a bunch of water stolen instead of the valuable fuel and oxygen. So very, very nice defense against pirates there by Soren, just by leaving that water pump up.
That's it. Definitely discourages people.
Cold Fusion going to be next up for Soren. I like this move. Not a lot of people do it, but I really love Cold Fusion as a scientific patent, driving up perhaps the price of water. This game, maybe not the best of options, because of course power is very, very cheap.
Yeah, power is far too cheap to be effective at the moment, but having it in your arsenal
Maybe
for later,
long
term, it's definitely worthwhile. And like you say,
Absolutely.
very, very underused.
No, I will say Soren just hit a 21,000 interest tick and has dumped himself into D levels of debt, something he is going to have to be concerned about moving forward this game.
Yes, especially being HQ level 3 with D debt is not... It's not looking good.
No, not where you want to be at all. Even with teleportation, cold fusion, yeah, you're not going to be getting that much more debt in general, almost no matter what happens this game. Well, he picked up financial instruments. If only you got money from yourself there.
Yeah, he'd be laughing, wouldn't he? But
he's going to have to find some way to make up that cash so he can pay down his debt. We have not looked much at Hydroponos this game. You did point out his silicon and glass production, which I think is very, very strong for him.
he's been listening. It's the old corner strategy.
Yeah, exactly, right. Just hide in the corner. Make sure nobody's going to get in my way.
That's it. But he's definitely been seen. Freeze down on his farms.
Yeah.
$200 a piece. That's gonna hurt.
Oh yeah.
But
Farm's very, very strong this game.
Soren's got slant drilling, or he'll be moving into slant drilling because he's got his extra glass coming out.
Yep, makes sense. Looks like he's gonna be gunning for that right about now. 30 seconds until it's done.
Yeah, it's a good move. Glass, very strong market with the colony. People who want to build off-worlds. It's really only oxygen is worth launching at the moment, which you want to definitely get your research running for oxygen.
All right, finally we've got a pleasure dome coming down this game from PB. That should be pretty valuable with 5 adjacency bonuses on this map this late into the game. Oh yeah, 288 on that pleasure dome. That's
tasty, isn't it?
Whenever you don't have someone like Black Magic in the game, you gotta be watching that pleasure dome price, because that gets pretty valuable pretty fast. Now, if you got Black Magic in the game, he's just gonna take it before you do, so maybe don't worry about it so much.
That's it. It's a defensive move then, isn't it?
Yeah, but it works out very nicely for him most of the time. Oh, virtual reality coming out from Soren. He might want to get a pleasure dome to go along with that, but that's okay.
Yeah, I think he's got to be planning to get a pleasure dome at some point, you would hope.
Yeah, I do want to point out real quick, by the way, claims have gotten up to $50,000 at this point.
Wow.
And people want those claims. Well, Soren did manage to recover significantly when it came to bond rating, I think off the back of Cook the Books. Definitely well done there, keeping himself from too much interest building up, as that's going to be his primary source of debt from here on out. And well, financial instruments gave him a good $6,000, so likely paid for itself already, just about.
Yeah, the level of debt that everybody is. I mean, Qubit's in 100 grand's worth of debt. 150 for Soren and 160 for PB. Hydroponos there on 60.
Yeah.
So Hydroponos is quite well placed if he could get some more of his own stock. And Soren taking a 4th glass.
A 4th glass. That is interesting. I'm not
sure.
Don't think I like that. It's very, very heavy commitment, and it's just to glass. Glass is the only thing you really want to put there.
And because it's over the other side of the map, just swapping those buildings out is a major undertaking.
Absolutely. That's the other part of it, is it's on the other side of the map. You could theoretically do electronics. What is with these nukes? What is happening? I can't. Trace. We are done with water this game.
PB said to Qubit, no water for you.
Oh man, but
Qubit does have 3 waters under his tiles already, and no doubt he's level 4, so Qubit can get more water if he wants it. So it's not game changing. I'd like to see that come down after Qubit had hit level 5 and committed his claims. I mean,
and Qubit, he has a medium and a low still up in Soren's area. He picked one of those up off the auction earlier. I think he got the low off the auction earlier this game.
Not such a great move then.
Yeah, so I don't know if that was the best use of those nukes, but I didn't mind it too much. I mean, what I almost would have liked to see happen this game with nukes was maybe Soren actually be the one to be utilizing them on some of this silicon, because there is not a lot of silicon on this map, and he could have pretty easily locked it down for himself as a scientist, not worrying about nukes because, well, trace is enough to run a scientist building. All it would have taken is 3 nukes to knock pretty much all the rest of the silicon off this map. I really would like to see that play, personally.
That would be a very powerful play, considering the investment that he's made into his glass production. Those two would go hand in hand for me.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Soren's got something else up his sleeve.
Maybe he does. Now, there are no holograms this game, so we don't have to worry about bouncing between players too much to see what's going on. And we do see that PBhead, he's got an Offworld online about 15 seconds until its first oxygen launch, which is going to make him about $46,000. Not too bad there on the oxygen launch.
That's going to be very welcome for him. Puts him in a good position. And Soren's got another Offworld up. Sorry, a single Offworld.
Single Offworld, but still, our second Offworld of the game.
Where's he hiding?
An interesting decision. Now, one thing we didn't talk about earlier is Hydroponos' patent lab, and he just immediately hopped into thinking machines. Soren didn't really prioritize taking that earlier, and I'm kind of wondering why.
Yeah, I would have probably got into it as quick as possible. Although, well, dynamite's still cheap. The power surges.
I guess it is just dynamite that he's really concerned about as a scientist. Obviously, it still helps to knock like a few more seconds off that power surge. I think it's like 22 maybe extra seconds you get from thinking machines of launch time. About a third of a launch, let's say, a third to a half with thinking machines from that power surge. But
yeah, it's definitely worth picking up.
yeah, I think so.
There's a lot of Offworlds here, aren't there?
Well, it's that stage of the game, isn't it? I mean, just
But
start throwing them down.
yeah, PB's got no goon squad on his. Surprised nobody's picked that up. But
I'm also a bit surprised at this Offworld market's positioning out here. Have you spotted PB's market next to the neutral colony?
he has a second one. I hadn't.
Yeah, he's got a second one at the neutral colony. Dynamite this game, not well positioned though because of it's next to habitats instead. I'm wondering if he was planning like maybe double Pleasure Dome at some point, moved into the Offworld market instead. That sort of thing could have happened.
Possibly.
But I think this is just not well positioned. If you're going to have a building separate from your base and not getting adjacency bonuses, I think it would have been much better to have like move an optimization center out there, put the Offworld market down underneath the Goon Squad. I think that's what I would rather like to see here.
The only risk then is you've got two together and you get 2 for 1 on black market.
That's true, with the power surges in particular.
Yeah, but yeah.
It is a fair point, though. That would be vulnerable.
I think you're right, though. I would prefer to see the optimization sensor out to the colony.
Well, boom goes Soren's Offworld. Hydroponos finally moving into Offworlds himself. One thing we haven't really discussed much is the stock situation with Soren and PB both getting very aggressive against Hydro, who's having trouble defending himself. He's been sitting in his corner, but not ignored this time.
No.
People paying attention and don't want to let him just be able to get away with doing whatever he wants this game.
He's certainly kept in check, hasn't he?
Yeah.
But losing, he's a bad position, though. 5 stock down to Soren as well.
That's the dangerous part.
They're going to be gunning for it. And it wouldn't be spared, but he hasn't got any cash.
You can kind of tell, can't we, that Soren's the one teaching the AI how to play the game, getting so aggressive in stock like this.
Yeah.
I'm curious how close he is to getting knocked out. I think he still has just a little breathing room here, but it's definitely not comfortable. Soren about 150,000 away from actually going for the kill. And the thing about that is, this dynamite can be so powerful against Soren, having to repair these off-world markets. Very, very expensive right now. Steel at 130, glass above 200, and electronics up at 5.
Ouch. Yeah, it is going to cost a lot to repair those off-world markets.
And even so, PBhead, he could go for the kill at 323, and Soren, he just got a launch off as soon as he repaired that off-world. That was a huge amount of money on over to him.
So he's getting close, isn't he? Oh, there goes his off-world market.
Yeah, I don't think he's quite close enough that he can skip repairing that at this point, though. Which is a very big deal.
Qubits just lost his off-world.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Yeah.
Now that should
Hydroponos.
not last much longer.
No.
'Cause we're up at 70k dynamite now. And Hydroponos actually sitting on 2 dynamite at the moment. Very nice for him.
I wonder what he's going to do with that.
Yeah, gotta wonder where he's planning on those going. Although I think Soren's actually about to the point where he could just knock Hydroponos out of the game in just a moment here. You notice that he chose not to repair this Offworld. He says, I'm going to rely on my glass, my oxygen, and my food, and I'm going to push for this kill before I bother with the repair. Just scrounging together all that money. And suddenly Soren's put himself into a very, very strong position today.
Yes, he's definitely looking good there. Nobody else. Well, they've got some money, but
PBhead, I think, is still a big concern here for him, but
yeah, 2
just have to see how it
Offworlds.
plays out. It's the double Offworld, exactly. Well, the double Offworld and the double optimization center has been running a very long time for PBhead. So if we take a look, he's going to have 4 oxygen in just a moment here. He's got 2 food, 2 water. He's at 2 fuel, 2 chems, and 4 electronics.
Those electronics are paying off for him, I think.
Yeah, those electronics, I think they're the big thing that let him kind of just swoop in as soon as Soren got the kill and take up all 3 of these stock that he's managed to get. He could get a 4th pretty easily in just a moment here. And suddenly Soren in a very similar position to where Hydroponos was just a moment ago.
Soren just hasn't got the cash at the moment to do anything, and he doesn't seem to have the cash coming in. He's ticking up reasonably nicely, but
I mean, glass is going okay for him. Oxygen's going okay for him. I don't know if it'll be enough, though. That's the problem. He needs a lot of money to manage to survive this one.
yeah, he hasn't. He's just not got it coming in. Glass is doing well for him, but oxygen, well, the oxygen isn't really, because he's having to ship most of it off. It's very hard for him to make money. He's just stalled out, unfortunately.
Absolutely.
PB's just making money after money after money.
Yep, he's pulling that off pretty well. PBhead also has no debt at this point. So he's keeping his stock price very, very high. Although Qubit choosing to get aggressive against PB, trying to make sure that... So Qubit, this is a play to win out of Qubit. If he just plays the status quo, he helps PBhead eliminate Soren. There's no way that Qubit actually goes through and wins this game. So Qubit, he's mixing things up a little bit, keeping Soren in contention, fighting with PB, and it tries to make things a little bit more interesting. It does look like Qubit, after seeing that PBhead is going to eliminate him, goes ahead and gives up this one. So we are down to just Soren and PBhead remaining in this game.
He hasn't done Soren any favours there.
No, not really. Soren would have liked to see him stick around in this game as a competitor. Of course, the AI seems to be remaining aggressive. I mean, it's still got that 4 stock bought into PBhead, so regardless, Soren potentially in a much better position than he would have been had Qubit not contributed in the first place.
I think PB's going to edge it, though.
I think you're probably right. The double Offworld up for so long, the optimization centers making him so much money is such a huge deal. PBhead at 66%, 80% of what he needs to finish off Soren. 531 is what he's looking for at 437 right now.
A couple of launches and he'll be there.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we are going to see PBhead go ahead and take game number 1 in our second round of this tournament. Still potentially plenty of games left to go, but this one looks like it's just about over.
I think so. 94, 95. There he is. He's got the bye.
Just got to wait for him to notice it. He's sitting on such a ridiculous amount of food right now. 1,400 food, it looks like, for PBhead. Just trying to find every little edge he can, it seems, to punish his opponent.
There, he's sold it and bought it. No?
You could do it, PB. I believe we're just waiting on these launches to clean up, I think.
Oh, okay.
And that'll be the game.
Well done, PB.
It was good good first win. A little bit nervous about him early in the game with all that debt, but I think Cook the Books really kept him alive a little bit there.
Definitely. And then it was good at the end. He got rid of all his debts. Very strong position with those two off-worlds.
It was well done. The optimization center is also really coming through, identifying, like, in order to have electronics functioning at like 100% with 4 upgrades, when electronics are up at $400-500, like, you got to be thinking ahead and seeing that coming a fair ways out. So that was well done on PBhead, identifying that market. I think that probably made a big difference in this game.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Just being able to produce that much oxygen, because that was the only thing that people were launching, so the price of oxygen is going to be sky high, and getting all your upgrades done on it's a very strong strategy.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can see 822 sold for electronics, 933 for chems, and then 684 for food.
Yeah.
And of course, the off-world launches of oxygen were also very, very handy that game.
Yeah, he certainly made the most of his two off-worlds.
A little nervous about Hydroponos going for thinking machines so early that game. I just want to point out, well, not so early even, but taking thinking machines, but then being the last person, it seemed, to an off-world market was a bit of a concern for me.
Yeah.
Because that's the primary reason you get thinking machines, is to allow you to safely move in there, and especially once you've already got 2 on the ground, one from PB and one from Soren. That's really, I think, the time to go ahead and scrounge together that money, whatever you have to do, to get that market launching.
Yeah, it seemed to not get enough cash coming through at the mid to late game, which really would have funded a couple of, not perhaps first early off-worlds, but certainly once all the shenanigans had finished with the dynamite and what have you, get 2 quick off-worlds up and you're in a very good position with thinking machines. Just
Absolutely.
having the cash on hand, though, to defend your stock and build an off-world, you've got to be able to do 2 or 3 things at once, and it can be a struggle sometimes.
It's true, it can be. So maybe there were some other decisions along the way that just didn't let him have the money available for that. But
there we go.
That's the way it is. All right, I've got the next lobby up.
There we go. We don't want to keep people waiting.
Yeah. There we go.